we celebrate the outstanding achievements of our students, faculty, and staff in the creative arts. The distinguished number of honorees you'll hear about have all excelled in the areas of creative inquiry and production, outreach, and professional excellence. They embody the outstanding range, quality, and diversity of the creative arts at the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
These awards would not be possible without the generosity of our donors and supporters. The Joyce J. and Gerald A. Bartel family, Suzanne and Roberto Freund, Emily McKay and Ruth and Hartley Barker, EDNA WIECHERS Arts in Wisconsin Fund, the Bassett and Evu Foundations, the University of Wisconsin Foundation, and the Vilas trustees. This year, the Arts Institute is thrilled to present approximately $85,000 in awards. The Studio Awards recognize members of the studio creative arts community for outstanding research and service. These awards recognize and honor exceptional artistic projects and endeavors that will take place in the upcoming academic year and are sponsored through the Division of University Housing and the Arts Institute. This year's first recipient is Duncan Slagle, English Department and Department of Classical and Ancient Near Eastern Studies.
So my name is Duncan Slagle. I am a first-year undergraduate student at UW-Madison. I'm a recipient of the First Wave Scholarship, so I'm in the 11th cohort of First Wave. I'm a declared triple major in classical humanities, English creative writing, classics with an emphasis in ancient Greek. As a queer person and a queer artist, I'm really interested in queer narratives, queer writing, queer art as a way to claim space in a cultural conversation, in a literary conversation that doesn't always include us. So I'll be researching on the ground in Italy, talking about queerness as it relates to the Greek and Roman canon of mythology, tracing where homosexuality comes into play in a lot of myths that we might not know were queer myths. I'm going to be writing a poetry manuscript centering those myths, but using just kind of casual interviews with queer folks that I meet in Italy, going to queer spaces, talking with them about growing up queer in the Mediterranean area, what that experience is like, and letting that influence my work. Get outside of the American conversation surrounding queerness, because a lot of us are steeped in it already, and with such a rich mythology that has queer characters in it, I'm really fascinated to kind of understand that a little more. I'm receiving the Studio Art Award. The bulk of it is funding me to be able to go to Italy, stay in Italy, and then hospitality things, like if I meet someone, being able to buy them a drink or food so we can just have a conversation. I think art is radical, and I think art can create and change and activate and heal the world if we let it. Supporting artists who don't hold identities that you do, supporting Black artists, brown artists, trans artists, queer artists, disabled artists, non-Christian artists, and amplifying those voices in art is one of the most important things we can be doing right now. Thank you to the Arts Institute for providing this award. I am honored to receive it and really excited about what it says for both me and my fellow recipient, Shaspere. Both of our projects allow people who are often excluded from conversations a space to have that conversation by us and for us, and I think that is so incredible. So I'm stoked that the Arts Institute was willing to fund that for us.
This year's second recipient is Shaspere Leitard, Theater and Drama and Afro-American Studies.
My name is Shaspere Leitard. I am a First Wave Scholar on campus. I am very interested in all things art, anything from visual art, printmaking, dance, film. I try everything. The Black Arts Matter Festival is a project that I am super excited about. It's to celebrate Black voices on campus and to give everyone from all disciplines a platform. My intention is to have theater, poetry, singing, dance, film, and to have different events centered around Blackness or conversations around Blackness. And I'm really excited to kind of work with different departments to figure out what an event in said discipline would look like. I plan to fund the festival in part with this award, and hopefully I can secure other funds so I can look at paying artists for their work and their time and involvement in the festival. I do a lot of performance art. I am a slam poet, I do theater, I'm in plays and shows, but I wanted to look more into the arts administration side of things, and so that's kind of my research. The benefits of being a part of this university is access in its many forms, professors and mentors and people who can help me discover things that I want to do in life and in my art. I am an arts activist. Some people march, I create. When we're talking about representation, it is super important to be inclusive and to really think about the voices that aren't present in a space. That's my challenge, is to bring different voices that I'm not hearing on campus and to bring them forward. If anyone wants to get involved, I'm super grateful for collaborations and help with this process. Thank you so much to the Arts Institute for this award. I am thankful that someone believes in my project and wants to see it happen. And so we're gonna make it happen.
The Arts Business Competition is a campus-wide competition open to all majors to encourage new, innovative ideas. Students submit a proposal for an arts event, exhibition, series, or another kind of artistic project to implement over the next academic year, which are judged by members of the local arts and business community.
Arts Business Competition First Prize, Qua Tran, PhD, Molecular and Cellular Pharmacology, Bailey Benner, PhD, Microbiology, and Holly Walter Kirby of Wisconsin Storyworks, with Gaining Steam, a project teaching scientists how to convey their research through comics-based storytelling. Arts Business Competition Second Prize, Eva Ugratit, 2017 DMA Flute Performance. Kyle Johnson, 2018 DMA Piano Performance. And Satoko Hayami, DMA Collaborative Piano, with Lunart Festival, a new international festival in Madison whose mission is to continue to support, inspire, promote, and celebrate women in the arts through public performances, exhibitions, workshops, and interdisciplinary collaboration. Arts Business Competition Third Prize, Simone Dewing and Max Puchalski, MFA Art, with Off the Wall, a nighttime outdoor screening series of contemporary video art.
The David and Edith Seniko Frank Graduate Fellowship for Women in the Arts supports and encourages women musicians, dancers, designers, artists, actors, and creative writers by providing them with an opportunity to present their work. This year's first recipient is Helen J. Bullard, PhD candidate, Art Department.
I'm Helen J. Bullard, and I'm approaching the final year of a Special Committee PhD in Interdisciplinary Art and Science, which is supported through the Art Department and the Graduate School. I'm a research-based storyteller. I work with lots of different people in different departments: environmental history, environmental science, history of science, as well as 4D arts and a whole bunch of other people. The focus of my PhD is to tell stories about horseshoe crabs. Horseshoe crabs have been found in the fossil record as far back as 480 million years. That means that they have survived 5 mass extinctions and gone through major climate change, ice ages, ocean acidification, continental drift. And yet, right now, because of global overharvesting and this intensely accelerated speed of climate change that we have now, they're in real trouble. In September, I'm having my dissertation exhibition. The exhibition will create a projected landscape, a horseshoe crab landscape, and also a research landscape through video and sound. So I'm going to be using the money from this fellowship towards equipment for the show. Before being at Madison, I didn't really have the opportunity to be so interdisciplinary in an institution. The art department worked with the graduate school to facilitate that, and I've found people to be so open with their research. I think that as creative people and artists, we have this Incredible privilege in being able to tell stories about really important things that are more accessible and more flexible than a lot of other people in other departments are able. I'm really grateful for this fellowship. It's come at a really important time in my research, going into my final year, so the pressure's really on. I really appreciate the financial support, but also academic support in going forward with the project. This is really helpful.
This year's second award goes to collaborators Maria Amalia Wood, MFA candidate in the Design Studies Department, and Lee Garcia, MFA candidate in the Art Department.
My name is Maria Amalia Wood. I am an artist and paper maker.
My name is Lee Garcia, and I'm a third-year printmaking graduate student in the art department.
I've always been interested in stories of immigration because I am an immigrant. But unlike myself, I wanted to know more about the journey of women who had come here undocumented. And it was important for me that this project was collaborative, so that's when I thought about Lee.
My grandparents crossed the border undocumented in the 1940s, so it's always been a part of my history.
This award was really important because it provided the support that we needed to document the whole project. The project had 3 different phases, and one of them was the interviewing of the women.
Maria is really familiar with a lot of undocumented women in the Madison community through her church. So we decided that we wanted to start by interviewing them to get real stories of these experiences.
The second phase was the making of the artwork.
Maria and I decided that we wanted to document our interpretations of the women's stories through papermaking and printmaking.
The third phase was presenting and unveiling the artwork to the women that we had interviewed and their families, and making it available in the Madison community.
We had some hung at the public library downtown in Madison, as well as the Latino Chamber of Commerce.
We are so grateful to all of the faculty and to the Art Institute and to the donors.
Thank you for allowing us to bring to light these issues of undocumented immigration that are so poignant in our society right now.
I wanted to invite all of the donors to look at our website, unamilpa.com, and to look at all the documentation that they helped fund, and so that they can also be part of the story.
The Joyce J. and Gerald A. Bartell Award recognizes and honors the achievements of faculty and staff in the creative arts, in areas of outreach, public service, and other activities involving the larger community. This year's recipient is Jamie Henke, Distinguished Faculty Associate in the Division of Continuing Studies.
My name is Jamie Henke, and I'm a member of the Division of Continuing Studies here at UW-Madison, and I also teach course for the School of Music. I've always had in mind a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote that says, "Do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." And I've tried to do that on campus as much as possible, and that includes creating the Literary Arts program for Odyssey Junior. Odyssey is a program here on campus that helps disadvantaged students start their college careers. And the Odyssey Junior is a program for their children who are in childcare at that time. So I created Literally Arts, which is a arts program that pairs an art, music, and movement project with a children's book. This year I started an African drumming project with them, but we had no drums. So we were tapping those rhythms on our thighs, or we were using wooden blocks in the classroom, neither of which sounded very much like drums. So basically what we're going to use the funding for is to help support the Literally Arts program through the Odyssey project. I've already bought drums for the kids, and so we're actually doing African drumming on the real drums, which has just been absolutely amazing, and it's been wonderful, and the kids just love it. They are eager to learn, and their energy is inspiring to me every time I work with them, and it's a wonderful thing that will be done with this money. I would like to thank everyone involved in the Arts Institute, and I would also like to thank all of the Bartell family for making this possible. The Bartells, who originally started this award, were involved in children's programming. In fact, they were some of the first pioneers of children's programming on radio, so I think they would be pleased that we're using this to further the same kind of legacy that they started.
The The EDNA WIECHERS Arts in Wisconsin Award seeks to enrich cultural offerings and inspire future artists in Wisconsin communities underserved by the arts. The award supports faculty or staff in the creation and or presentation of new or existing artworks across the state. This year's recipient is J. Mishka Lewis, curator at Tandem Press.
My name is J. Mishka Lewis. I go by Mishka. I am a curator at Tandem Press. We are affiliated with the School of Education and we work hand in hand with the art department. I have a background in printmaking. I have my own individual practice, but I also work collaboratively with two other artists under the name Spooky Boobs Collective. The two artists I work with are Amy Canestra and Maggie Snyder, and they are also alumni of the UW program. We visualize the trivialization of women's experiences and specifically look at how language is used in our culture to diminish women or limit them in many ways. One project that we've been working on for a couple years now is titled The Pattern's Vicious Influence, and it's a series of wallpaper designs that we create using words that are prevalent throughout the language used in our society. Anything that is used to minimize women by disregarding their ideas to attacking our bodies or sexuality as well. Another series we have is a primarily performance piece. Participants on the street or in gallery settings, we put them under momentary arrest for various crimes against societal norms. Anything from speaking their mind or enjoying grooming habits could label you as being high maintenance or aggressive. So it kind of takes the words that we use in our wallpaper patterns and puts them into this real-life community interaction. So this award is particularly going to support a couple exhibitions of work by the Spooky Boobs Collective. Primarily, we have a solo exhibition at the Arts and Literature Laboratory here in Madison, Wisconsin this May. We're very interested in interacting with our community. We're really interested in having discussions about the language that is used in our society because that's how we can build awareness for how detrimental and harmful these words are. Hopefully we can be aware of how those words are used and not use them as often and then progress and move forward. It's not easy work to do, so being part of the art community at the university and locally in Madison is extremely important to our success and our longevity. Thank you so much for the support.
The Emily Mead Baldwin Awards in the Creative Arts recognizes the achievements of a tenured member of the arts faculty and provides general research support. This year's first recipient is Andrea Harris, Associate Professor, Dance Department.
I'm Andrea Harris. I'm an Associate Professor in the Dance Department. I teach the courses in dance history and also movement analysis. In a previous stint, I was a choreographer and a performer. I became a dance historian because I wanted to know more about the social and political meanings of dance, and I wanted to help explain those to others. My first book, titled Making Ballet American, is really shaped by that effort. And part of what came out of that research was a real fascination in the 1930s. It was almost a perfect storm of intersecting factors that came together during the Depression years to create this idea of the arts as a serious professional activity that was deeply connected to the public good and to the national good. So the project that I received the Emily Mead Baldwin Award for extends that research that I did for my first book. My vision for this project is it will be a volume of essays, which I will curate and edit. There'll be paired essays, all about dances that happened in the 1930s. And I want to put together essays by choreographers and performers who restage works of the 1930s, alongside essays by scholars in dance and music and art history that explain those works in social, cultural, political, economic contexts. One of the things that for me is really special about being at UW is being a part of this dance department and its legacy. We were the first dance department in the United States and in the world. We were founded by Margaret Dobler out of this very Deweyan philosophy that dance education was an important part of the holistic growth of the individual. And I think I can speak for my colleagues in the dance department that we all take that legacy really, really seriously. This is a very generous award, And it's going to allow me to do my research with a kind of intellectual rigor and depth that would be difficult for me to do without this kind of support. We're seeing a lot of big movements pushing for a lot of social change right now. We're also witnessing, really up close and in real time, the way in which literacy in arts and the humanities is at the heart of democratic citizenship. All of these social movements are really rooted in an understanding of history and how the past bears on the present, but also in this effort to communicate a strong and clear message through writing, through images, through performance. Those are the arts. So on the one hand, when you're funding the arts, you are putting a beautiful dance on stage, or you're bringing an exquisite symphony to life. But on the other hand, the ripple effects of supporting the arts run very, very deep.
This year's second recipient is Shireen Sherrard Johnson, Sally Mead Hands Bascom Professor, English Department.
I'm Shireen Sherrard Johnson. I am the Sally Mead Hands Bascom Professor of English, and I teach in the English department. I'm also an affiliate with African American Studies, with Women's Studies, and I direct the graduate program in English as well. So right now I'm working on salt from both a critical and creative perspective. I'm looking at salt as a commodity, as a metaphor, specifically in terms of the Caribbean and plantations cultivation of salt, as a preservative, as an antidote, as something that is necessary for life, but also required labor to produce. The Arts Award is really going to provide me with an opportunity to travel and visit some of the sites that I am interested in writing about. There are certain islands in the Caribbean where I am following something called the African Diaspora Heritage Trail. And on my next stop, I'm hoping to go to Antigua. Also, I have a creative project that looks at the work of the Afro-Native sculptor Edmonia Lewis. And her studio was in Italy next to the Carrara marble quarry. And so I'm hoping to also use the funds to travel there and actually look for the site of her studio, which has never been found. The work on this sculpture will be a novel, and it will be a novel that is somewhat historical but also grounded in the present. The work that's on salt, I imagine, will come into a trio of creative nonfiction essays. I feel like this is really giving wind to what I think is going to be an emerging and continual part of my practice. I feel like this is a really generative place for doing creative work. The intellectual climate is very stimulating, and Madison, as well as a town, is one that really does support the arts through having a community that will take the time to really seriously consider work that isn't always superficial. Engaging with art is really something that helps people develop empathy and connection, especially with people who are strangers. And I feel like that promotes an environment in which the best aspects of humanity can thrive.
Funded by the generosity of the Bassett and Evu Foundations, the Creative Arts Award recognizes the achievements of a tenured arts faculty member and provides general research support. This year's recipient is Henry Druell, Evu Bascom Professor, Department of Art History.
Ekabo, welcome. Friends, colleagues, and students, good evening. I want to say that the Arts Institute at the university has been an incredible arts incubator, bringing dynamic energy, innovation, and creativity not only to the campus, but to Madison and to the state of Wisconsin. It's been my pleasure and honor to have hosted two of the artists in residence, wonderful artists like Faisal Abdullah and Mita Mastani, and to have helped Faisal with our current artist in residence, Ama Ray. They have added so much to our place here. The grant that you've given me is for making documentaries. The Yoruba have a term for the art, and they say ona is evocative form. I hope to make a series of powerful, evocative documentaries, artful documentaries, from more than 50 years of filming, both in the States and Africa and the African diaspora. I was honored by having one of my very small films shown on a very big screen at the recent Wisconsin Film Festival. And I just want you to see that I wear my t-shirt for that festival with great pride. So this is what we hope to do, and I get to work with another Art Institute gem, Aaron Granat, who's the person that's behind the camera right now. Thanks again for your support and your confidence. On Wisconsin, on arts.
For more information about the Arts Awards and this year's recipients, please visit go.wisc.edu/artsawards.
Congratulations to all the recipients.